Hey guys, it's Kristen from Needham Park and Recreation. I am so excited to talk to you today about Needham Unplugged and National Meatball Day, which is today, Tuesday, March 9th. Super excited to bring you 2 recipes for some meatballs that are kid-friendly and family fun. There is a meat option and a vegetarian option that is brought to you from me and our director for Park and Recreation, Stacy, who will say hi in a little bit. So, we love working with Needham Youth and Family Services every year. This is the 20th year of the Needham Unplugged calendar that happens every single March. Last March, bit crazy. This March, little less crazy, but still not the same. And it's important now, as it ever has been, to take some time to disconnect, to be with your family, to be in your community, to be outside, to be having fun without our gadgets and gizmos. So once you're done watching this YouTube video to see our recipe, see what tweaks we made, and to see some fun about how meatballs can get made together as a family, turn it off, enjoy your dinner, and just know that this is not just for today. These are available publicly. You can watch it anytime. Make every day National Meatball Day if you'd like. We really hope you enjoy it, and check back with us at Needham Park and Recreation. We've got a couple other things planned for this month. Super excited and can't wait to see everybody soon. Bye guys.
Okay, welcome to Needham Unplugged. My name is Stacy. I am the Director of Park and Recreation here for the town of Needham. First thing we want to do though is wash our hands. So kids, if you are in the room, you should be washing your hands too. Make sure you get the backs too, don't forget. You're supposed to sing happy birthday or 20 seconds or whatever, but your hands are the best tools in the kitchen, so make sure they are nice and clean before you move forward touching any food. Alright, let's get started. Today we are gonna make some veggie meatballs for kids. This is a kid-friendly recipe. There'll be a link in the video, so don't worry about that. Alright, first thing, you're gonna wanna set your oven to preheat to 400 degrees, and we are gonna actually grease up this sheet, baking sheet. For fancy tools. Alright, so what we have, we're gonna make these veggie meatballs. I know it's Meatball Monday, but I don't eat meat. So we're gonna do veggie meatballs. We have some chickpeas. Come on over, take a look at our chickpeas. So we need about 1 can of chickpeas, 1 egg beaten. This is about a medium zucchini grated. This is a medium carrot grated. This is about 1/2 cup of cheddar cheese, shredded, and this is about 3/4 cup of breadcrumbs. The recipe, as you see, will just call for dried herbs. So we're gonna go with some oregano, some salt and pepper, and we are gonna put a little cayenne in ours, a little spiciness, but you can add or subtract your spice as needed. Okay. First thing we're going to do is make sure that all of our attachments are on safely to our Cuisinart. If you don't have a Cuisinart, you can just mash with a potato masher your chickpeas and then mush everything together. Mush is a technical term, so make sure you do that one correctly. This is super sharp, so if you're cooking with the kids, make sure an adult-like person does this part. Alright. Chickpeas. Done. Breadcrumbs in. I'm not going to put all of them in just in case it gets a little too dry. In this recipe it says courgette, that is a zucchini. So we're going to add the zucchini in. Then carrot. The egg. The cheese, and last but not least, the herbs. chickpeas can be bland, so you want to add a little bit more salt than you think. Pepper, use your best judgment. You can always add a little after the fact. Oregano, you want to use about a teaspoon. And spiciness. All right, now we're going to turn it up. Again, if you don't have one of these at home, you can mash all the ingredients together by hand. We're going to pause. I like to unplug. Spatula in there, move it around a little. Make sure we're getting everything in there. It does need a little bit more breadcrumbs, so put those in there. So that looks pretty good to me. If it looks too dry, you can add a tiny bit of water to loosen it up, and if it looks too wet, you can always add a little bit more breadcrumbs. So make sure the adult reaches in, unplug, takes out the super sharp. Leave. That's in the kitchen. We're gonna bring this over here to our pre-greased. And we're just gonna make some meatballs. Oh, they don't roll like meatballs, but you get the idea. If you don't want to cook all of these at the same time, you could form them and freeze them. I would freeze them flat in your freezer on this tray, and then once they're frozen, take them out, take them off the tray, and then bag them. My Nana always said that if you wet your hands with cold water, the mixture won't stick. But I promise you, my Nana did not make veggie meatballs. But we'll see. Oh, she wasn't wrong. That works. Wet your hands. When you're putting these on your cookie sheet, or baking sheet, I should say, make sure you give them enough room. So, for today, I'm going to cook up about 12 of these guys. And according to my mixture, probably get another 6 of them that will freeze up. But 12 should be good for today. I'm going to pop these in the oven. It's preheated. We're going to set that timer so that we don't forget. It says to check it about 15 minutes, 15 to 20, so we'll set the time for 15. And we'll see you soon. Oh, time to check. Make sure we get some safety gloves here. Definitely not ready yet. They shouldn't bounce quite that much. Put them back in for about 5 more minutes. Ready to check them again? Safety first. Alright, these are looking better, but it looks like we're definitely going to need to flip them. Another minute and then these will crisp right up. There we go. Alright, we're going to flip these, put them in for another 5 to 10 minutes, and then they'll be ready to go. Alright, so we got. Like I said before, they may not resemble meatballs like this one, not so much, but these guys look pretty delicious. So we're gonna plate them. Get ready to cook the next batch. We're gonna pre-cook them and then freeze them so that we can have them another night. But these looks pretty good. Put some sauce, maybe some pasta. Delicious weeknight meal. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Stacy. Here's where you can find the recipe that Stacy used for her vegetarian meatballs. On to the next. For our meatballs, we're going to use ground turkey, Parmesan, spinach, salt, pepper, flour, garlic powder, onion powder, basil leaves, oregano, and a single egg. You start by chopping up your spinach into pretty fine pieces. This helps it combine better in your mixture, and you can substitute this with kale if you prefer kale. You can also blanch it to make it softer, but this is just straight out of the fridge. It is a cup of spinach chopped finely according to the recipe. So in our bowl, we're going to start off by putting in our turkey. Like I said, this is a substitute. You could use beef, you can use ground chicken, you could use a vegetarian or vegan option as the bulk of it, as the meat. The recipe actually recommends substituting for bison. Now you're going to add in your salt. Recipe calls for about 1.25 teaspoons. Eyeballing it is the way that I've always done it. Salt, it's to flavor, and I know the spoon that I'm using is approximately a 1/4 teaspoon, give or take. So that's what I do, and then we add pepper. Again, another teaspoon, 1/4 teaspoon. 1.5 teaspoons of both onion and garlic powder. A teaspoon of oregano and a teaspoon of basil leaf. Then you're going to add in your spinach, again, substituting for kale, totally fine. And then you're going to add your single egg. Next up is the cheese. This is 2 ounces of Parmesan and 2 tablespoons of flour. The flour and the egg help to bind the meatball together, and here you go. Like Cece said, your hands are your best tool. You can absolutely wear gloves, or you could do this in a stand mixer or in a food processor like Stacy did, but the hands really get it in. A fun fact or fun tip for kids is that if you split this recipe or you split up all the ingredients into separate bowls, then the kids can each mix up their own bowl of meatballs for the family, because this is the fun part. This is the super fun part. I want to make sure everything gets in really good and combined. Next up, you're going to take your baking sheet and a sulpana mat, or you can grease your baking sheet instead. The recipe calls for using a cookie scoop. I prefer 2 teaspoons. This is actually how I make cookies too. You can either do what I'm doing and knock them right onto the pan, or you can ball them up with your hands. Stacy's tip, I think, is major, that getting your hands wet from her Nana. That was a great tip. So you're going to keep going until you fill up your baking sheet. I ended up doing 2 baking sheets with this, and actually I had to go back for a third, and we just have them refrigerated and ready to eat later. You're going to pop them into the preheated oven, preheated at 375, and then put them on a timer for about 15 minutes. And then you take them out of the oven. I did check the internal temperature on these. It's 165 because that's cooked turkey. We paired it, my house, with roasted vegetables that we had in the fridge already, and a fresh garden salad with a little balsamic. Here's where I found my recipe. Have so much fun. Enjoy.
Cut.
Thank you so much for cooking with us. We hope you guys have a great night. Bye.